The house stood alone at the edge of town, surrounded by thick woods that seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. Its windows were dark, its door slightly ajar as though inviting someone to come closer, to step inside. But for years, no one dared enter. It was known by the locals as the house that breathes, a place shrouded in mystery, legend, and fear. Sarah had heard the stories all her life, stories of the house's strange, unsettling noises, the strange occurrences that people swore happened every night. People said the house had a life of its own, that it breathed, as if the walls themselves were alive. But she never believed in such nonsense. Not until now. She had just moved to the small town, eager for a fresh start after everything that had happened. She'd heard the whispers about the house, of course, but she shrugged them off as the ramblings of superstitious townsfolk. But one night, something called to her. It was a pull, something she couldn't explain, like a deep, insistent breath from within the house, beckoning her to come closer. Against her better judgment, Sarah found herself standing before the old wooden door, her hand trembling as she pushed it open. The air inside was thick, heavy, and still. She stepped into the dark hallway, the floorboards creaking beneath her feet. The walls seemed to close in around her, almost suffocating in their silence. But then she heard it. A low, deep sound, a sound that could only be described as breathing. It was coming from the walls, the floors, the ceiling. The house was alive, and it was breathing. Suddenly, the air grew colder, and the house seemed to exhale, as though it were alive, taking in a deep breath. Sarah's heart raced, her legs frozen in place as she looked around. Every corner of the house felt like it was watching her, waiting. The house seemed to pulse, each breath louder, more insistent, as if trying to communicate something. She could feel the weight of it pressing down on her, suffocating her. The walls seemed to shift as if the house were moving, alive with some dark energy. Desperately, she tried to find a way out, but every door led her back to the same hallway. She was trapped. With each passing second, the house seemed to grow more agitated. The breathing grew faster, more erratic. She could feel it in the floor beneath her feet, in the air around her. The house was hungry, and it wanted something. But what? Panicked, Sarah stumbled toward the staircase, hoping to escape. But as she ascended, the breathing became louder, more forceful. It was as if the house was chasing her, following her every move. The walls seemed to press in on her, closing the staircase behind her. At the top of the stairs, Sarah found a door. She pulled it open, only to be met with a sight that froze her blood. The room was empty, save for a single bed in the center. The bed was covered in dust, but the sheets were strangely disturbed.